everybody. Welcome. Here we go. Happy Tuesday. It's Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Hot, sticky Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester. Streaming worldwide at WMNHradio.org and on the Facebook. On the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. It is Tuesday, June 23, the year of our Lord and the year of our eunuchs, 2020. Welcome, everyone. I have some surprises in a moment, but let me give out the contact info first. 603-250-6007. 603-250-6007 is the numbre to call if you would like to join me. You can also send a text message to 617-917-4476 if that is your preferred method of communication. Which reminds me, I forgot to open up that screen on my computer because that way I can see. I'm less likely to miss a text that way if I can see it on this screen. Then I have to switch to the correct account. Anyway. Yes, but that is another option for you. You can text me at 617-917-4476. You can tweet me at Matt Connarton. You can email me, matt@ipmnation.com. But the best thing to do is give us a call at 603-250-6007. We have many folks in the Facebook live chat. We'll say hello to them. And then I have surprises, my friends. Oh, yes. Let's see. Andy Barker, who is a top fan, first one in today, says, what's up? Andy, of course, from the state of Missouri. That's how they say it there. Don't blame me. Andy, of course, host of the Nothing's Off the Table podcast. Hello, Andy. John Midas Manning, also known as DJ Midas, joins us. He says, hola. He is also a top fan and the host of Late Night Delight, which you can hear every Saturday night beginning at 12 midnight all the way to 4 a.m. here on WMNH with a replay on Sunday night. Let's see. Brian Mackey, who is a top fan all the way from Idaho and host of the No More Excuses podcast, joins us in the Facebook. I don't know if are we doing a No More Excuses later, Brian? Let me know if we are. Let's see. Brian says hello to everybody. Mike Pelopita, who is a top fan, says good afternoon, everyone. And he says, oh my, just read that adult film star Ron Jeremy charged with rape and sexual assault. My goodness. I did read something about that as well. Rocky Huber, who is a top fan, says, what's up, everyone? Just want to make sure I don't miss anybody here. Michael Albers says, sent a DM, Matt. You did? What did you DM me? Oh, yes, you did. Oh, and he shared the link in the Facebook live chat as well. We'll come back to that. Very good. Oh, it's a video from Steve Schmidt, who ran John McCain's 2008 campaign for president. Yes, Steve Schmidt. I like to say his last name if you haven't noticed. Schmidt. That's how I say it. I don't think that's how he says it. But he ran John McCain's campaign against Barack Obama back in 2008. He's also a never Trumper and one of the MSNBC Republicans. You can often see him on Morning Show and other programs. But, Joe Friday joins us in the Facebook live chat and says, what up, dogs? Very good. Yes, I believe the young people say that now. If I'm not mistaken, the young people, they say things like, what up, dog? How you doing, dog? Or something. They're very much about dogs in the young vernacular. You know, if you're new to the show, you might not know this, but we try to keep the vocabulary very young and hip on the program to attract the youth audience. That's why it's important that they think I'm a hep cat and not some jive turkey. You know, that's how you attract the youth. That's why I give out the text line. They like to text instead of call. They like to tweet at you. They like to tweet at you, dog. things like that. Oh, Michael Albert says, you're the man now, dog. I am the man, and I am the dog, apparently. What a great day. Let's see. So I have surprises. Now, there's an amazing coincidence here. So I had decided, and this is 100% true. I had decided to bring in a couple of things to open live on the air because unboxing is very popular now. You'll see these unboxing videos on YouTube, and millions upon millions of people watch these videos, unboxing the newest thing, whatever. The newest iThing. That's an Apple product, I believe, the iThing. So, I've taken to doing that on the show. Sometimes I bring things in that I think might be interesting to the audience, and I'll do it live on the show. And so I had decided, just for example, I had opened a package that Brian Mackey had sent all the way from Idaho. I opened that live on the air. So, hello to Bobby B, who says, what's crackin' lackin' M Sizzle? Yes, Bobby B, also known as Bob Burrell. He is the one who bestowed the M Sizzle moniker on my alter ego, M Sizzle. So you can blame Bob for that, or thank him for that, depending on your perspective. But wonderful. I miss Bob. Bob and I used to work together back in the day, as I believe the young people also say. They talk about the day and being back there in the past or something. So so I had a couple of things I was going to do another one of my unboxing sessions. Actually, I had two things. Now I realize that, of course, on the one hand, we have people watching online via Facebook and on Comcast 97 if you're in Manchester, so you can see this. But there's also, obviously it's afternoon drive on FM radio. So probably 99% of the audience listening is probably listening in their cars, audio only. But radio is theater of the mind. So I will try to, for those who are only hearing the audio, I will attempt to describe the unboxing as I do these unboxings. But here's the amazing thing. Okay. So I brought in two things, and I'll explain what they are in a moment, but I brought in two different things to open on the air. Actually, they're just mail. It's a new segment called Matt's Mail Opening or something. Opening Matt's Mail live on the air. I'm kidding. No, the things that I brought in are specifically relevant to the show. However, so I bring in these two things, and this is 100% true. Pure coincidence. I get here. This actually happened. I get here, first time ever, maybe second time ever. I get here, and there's an envelope sitting on the board here, on the soundboard. And I'm like, oh, what's this? And I pick it up, and somebody sent something to me here at the station, addressed to me. But here at the station, I don't usually get mail here. I don't usually get mail, period. I mean, it's, the internet era, the internet age. People send emails and things and whatnot. Oh, Joe Friday says opening mail gives me PTSD. That's terrible, Joe Friday. I'm sorry to hear that. So, I did see your other comment, by the way, too. We'll come back to that. But yeah, so I was very surprised to see this. But it's just an amazing coincidence because this happened to appear on the same day. Brian Mackey says, call John Hopwood. This happened to appear on the same day that I had already planned to open things on the air. So I'm going to open all of these things on the air. I hope that you're as excited as I am. I, my friends, am quivering with excitement. Or perhaps it's a medical issue. I don't know. Jesse Ventura quivers. You ever notice that? Okay, I do love Jesse Ventura. Now, I'm going to open this first. I'm going to open the envelope that was sitting here on the soundboard because I genuinely have no idea what is in here. The other two things, I kind of already know what's in them. But the two things that I brought in, but this is very exciting. I don't usually get mail here at the station. It's addressed to, and it's a card, I should say, for those of you listening to the audio. It's in the shape of a card, a large envelope. So it might be a card. Perhaps it's a Father's Day card. You know, I did have, I forgot to tell Jenny about this because of someone she knows as well. I had someone text me on Sunday and wish me a happy Father's Day. It's just funny because I don't have any children, like literally no children at all. I mean, I was raised Catholic, so in theory I should have like 11 kids, but I don't have any. I have no paternal instinct whatsoever. I've never even had a moment where I thought, geez, you know, maybe I should be a dad. It's never even occurred to me. In fact, I wake up every day grateful to not having had to ever change a diaper ever in my life. That's a wonderful feeling. Anyway, so I come in and here's this card. It says, Matt Connarton Unleashed, and Unleashed is in quotes, care of Channel 97 or 95.3 FM. Now that they wrote it that way, care of Channel 97 or 95.3 FM, suggests to me that by putting Channel 97 first, whoever this is from is someone who watches the show locally here in Manchester on Channel 97. And then it says 3rd floor, 1045 Elm Street, Manchester, New Hampshire, 03101. Now, I don't know who sent this. I won't know until I open it. The return address, I cannot even read this. and no offense to the person who sent it. I can't read your writing. Maybe that's intentional. I don't know. It adds to the mystery. I don't know. Honestly, 100% true. I have no idea what's in this or who sent it. But as I continue to quiver with excitement, I'm now going to open this envelope. The other two things won't be quite as exciting because I already know what they are. But here we go. I'm opening this. This is my first time receiving anything like this at the station. It is a card. Let's see what it says. With caring thoughts. Okay, that's what it says on the cover. Now I'm opening the card. Maybe it's a syndication contract. No. Matt and Jenny, may your memories of your cat bring you comfort and peace. We lost our Maine Coon in 2012. And let me tell you, I didn't stop crying for 4 months. It's not, quote, just a cat, as some people say. It's your, quote, child. What does that say? Lucille Hubs, take care. I can't read the name. It looks like there's the name at the end, but I can't read it. But that is very thoughtful. Yeah. So for those who don't know, Jenny and I, our cat, Molly, passed away recently, and, you know, and she was the most affectionate animal, you know, that I've ever known. We had her for several years and loved her very much. And it's, you know, and having cats is the closest I ever want to get to being a parent. But, you know, she really was like part of the family, and it was a very, very hard day. We lost her to cancer. So whoever sent this, thank you so much. I can't read the name. It looks like it says Lucille. I'm not sure. Whoever that is, I hope you'll identify yourself at some point, because I'm not sure who sent this, but whoever you are, thank you so much. That is really wonderful. I appreciate that. I'm trying not to get choked up. Okay. Well, wow. All right. So our unboxing continues. So that was very nice. Now, the next thing we're going to open live on the air. Now, this is from Rob Arnaudin in, how do you say it? Barnegat, New Jersey? I don't know how you say that. But Rob, if you're not familiar with Rob, he is Rob of the Rob and Slim Show, a very popular podcast online, and we've had Rob on the show. We had him on recently, actually, just a couple of weeks ago. He called us, and we had a wonderful conversation. Rob and Slim, it's very, very funny. Definitely not safe for work. But hey, if you're one of these people who's working from home now, I guess you can listen to it while you work. But great show. And he sent me this. I received this envelope from him. So I'm opening this. If it looks like I'm opening it funny for those of you watching it online, it's because there's a lot of tape on it. And oh, very nice. He sent me a couple of stickers, Rob and Slim Show stickers. So thank you, Rob. I appreciate that very much. And one more thing, and this I've been looking forward to. This is a box, so we can do an actual unboxing. This is from my mother. I know that because my mom called me the other day. I was actually worried when I saw her show up on the caller ID because we usually only talk on holidays. Not for any particular bad reason or anything. You know, we have a great relationship, but she just doesn't usually call me. So when I thought something was wrong when I saw her on my caller ID. It turned out she was calling me just to talk about politics. I'm not a political junkie for nothing. I had many political conversations with my parents growing up. So she sent me this. She told me she was going to send me a book, and I don't have wow, this is taped up really well. I don't have a knife or anything. That's why I pulled my keys out. I'm going to take one of these keys that I don't even know what it goes to anymore, and I'm going to try to use my key to open this box. I know it's a book, and I know it's something political that she said that she thought I would enjoy reading. Oh, it's hardcover. Wow. Speaking of Never Trumpers, who appear on MSNBC, Rick Wilson. This is Rick Wilson's book, Running Against the Devil, a plot to save America from Trump and Democrats from themselves. Very nice. I look forward to reading this. She's already read it. She said, I would enjoy it very much. That deserves an air horn. For Mom, if you're listening. And by the way, apparently Rick Wilson's written a couple of books about Trump. He has another book, I believe it's called Everything Trump Touches Dies. But let's see. Hi, sweetie. I hope you enjoy this book as much as I did. If you do and feel like reading other stuff by him, he wrote Everything Trump Touches Dies. Unfortunately, I don't have that one. I got it from the library before it shut down. Keep on taking good care of yourself and Jenny. Hopefully we will all survive these, quote, interesting times. Much love, Mom. So very nice. I do enjoy, I like the cover art of this book. It's a darkened picture of Trump, and he's got like devil horns and a tail drawn. Rick Wilson, again, he's a Republican strategist, but not a fan of President Trump. There's there's actually a bunch of these people. There's like 10 or 11 of them in the entire country, I think, Republicans who are never Trumpers. It's quite remarkable. I'm kidding. There's more than that, but most of them are very, very quiet. So I look forward to reading that. Thank you, Mom. What an exciting day it's been. I don't know why I'm talking like it's 10 o'clock at night. Oh, what a great day. It's like, oh, there's still lots that could happen. Let's see. And we're only 30 minutes into the show, so we'll get to some other stuff. I hope I didn't take too long with the unboxing, but I'm still blown away by that card. That was whoever sent that. You're wonderful and very thoughtful. Thank you. Let's see. Joe Friday in the Facebook live chat said, I saw a picture of Obama back in the day wearing a Gigi Allen, a.k.a. Jesus Christ, for real. Oh, my goodness. Yes, Gigi Allen, he was from New Hampshire, and, he's dead now, of course. I say of course because Gigi Allen clearly was not long for this world. Those who know. Let's see. Michael Albert says, no white powder in the envelopes. Yes, thank goodness. And Jenny says, wow, thank you. Jenny in the Facebook live chat. She is a sharer, which I believe is a step above top fan. Let's see. I'm backing up to what Michael Albert shared. So this is from CNN.com. Let's see. This is the most succinct and brutal Republican rejection of Donald Trump that you will ever read. Oh my goodness. Let's see, how long is okay, yeah. I'll read this quickly. So this is Chris Cillizza wrote this for CNN. It says, for all of the words that have been written and spoken about and by Donald Trump, it's often difficult to put a finger on what makes his presidency so incredibly abnormal. Yes, he says and tweets things that no past president would ever utter publicly. Yes, he operates without any sort of blueprint or plan, choosing instead to wing it. Yes, he takes credit for everything and blame for nothing. Yes, he has upended decades worth of carefully crafted relationships with friends and enemies around the world. But there's just so much to say about the radicalness of Trump that it all sort of cancels itself out. Every once in a while, however, someone is able to break through the clutter and nail exactly what it is that makes Trump so unorthodox as president. Over the weekend, Steve Schmidt, who ran John McCain's 2008 campaign for president, was that person in an interview on MSNBC. Here's his analysis of Trump, which ran almost exactly 2 minutes. All right. So this is what Steve Schmidt had to say. And again, Steve Schmidt, yes, he ran John McCain's campaign in 2008. He is a Republican strategist. And I don't know if he ever a couple Republicans have actually left the Republican Party entirely and become independents. I don't remember if he's one of them or not. I feel like he might be, but I'm not sure. So it says here, this is Steve Schmidt talking. Donald Trump has been the worst president this country has ever had, and I don't say that hyperbolically. He is. But he is a consequential president, and he has brought this country in 3 short years to a place of weakness that is simply unimaginable if you were pondering where we are today from the day where Barack Obama left office. And there were a lot of us on that day who were deeply skeptical and very worried about what a Trump presidency would be. But this is a moment of unparalleled national humiliation, of weakness. When you listen to the president, these are the musings of an imbecile, an idiot. And I don't use those words to name call. I use them because they are the precise words of the English language to describe his behavior, his comportment, his actions. We've never seen a level of incompetence, a level of ineptitude so staggering on a daily basis by anybody in the history of the country who's ever been in charge with substantial responsibilities. It's just astonishing that this man is president of the United States, the man, the con man from New York City, many bankruptcies, failed businesses, a reality show that branded him as something that he never was, a successful businessman. Well, he's the president of the United States now, and the man who said he would make the country great again. And he's brought death, suffering, and economic collapse on truly an epic scale. And let's be clear, this isn't happening in every country around the world. This place, our home, our country, the United States, we are the epicenter. We are the place where you're most likely to die from this disease. We're the ones with the most shattered economy. And we are because of the fool that sits in the Oval Office behind the Resolute desk. So that's what Steve Schmidt had to say. And then Chris Cillizza says, like I said, it's brutal, but it's also a decidedly succinct assessment of what Trump's conduct in office, from coronavirus to protests over police brutality and back, have meant to the Republican Party and the country. Now, Schmidt is without question a leading voice in the Never Trump movement. He is a founder of the Lincoln Project, an effort aimed at beating Trump in November. But Schmidt is also a lifelong Republican. He worked for Lamar Alexander's 2000 presidential campaign. He worked on Capitol Hill for Republicans. He served as the communications director of the House GOP's campaign arm. He helped shepherd Arnold Schwarzenegger, a Republican, to the California governorship. He managed McCain's campaign. This is not someone who has an on-again, off-again relationship with the Republican Party. Schmidt has been a partisan fighter for the bulk of his professional life. He has been a Republican for a lot longer than Donald Trump has been one. That's true. And so, while it may be easy for Trump loyalists to dismiss Schmidt's condemnation of the president, it's not that simple. Yes, Schmidt is someone who has made no secret of his distaste for Trump, but that doesn't mean that all of what he says about the president above is wrong or should be ignored. So that is from CNN.com, Chris Cillizza's analysis shared with us by Michael Alber in the Facebook live chat. Thank you for sharing that. By the way, Andy Barker in the Facebook live chat says, I am one of those people that is now an independent. Good for you. I also am an independent, by the way, and I'll just remind people because I know, because I knock on Trump that I'm a liberal Democrat. No, I'm an independent. I actually loathe the two-party system, and I could sit here and spend an entire show telling you all the things I think are wrong with the Democratic Party. But I spend a lot of the show and a lot of time ripping on Trump. Well, for a couple of reasons. I mean, one being, yes, I do think he's, just generally awful in so many ways and has been terrible for the country, although he's been very good for my show. So there is that. But also, too, I mean, he does kind of, for better or worse, and I would say in this case, much, much worse, he is a fascinating character, and he's certainly the most colorful president that we've ever had. I mean, people used to make fun. I remember back in the, back during the Bush administration, the first Bush administration, George H.W. Bush, people would make fun of him for mispronouncing words or whatever, and people made fun of his son a little bit for that too. And it was like, at the time, especially with W, it was like, wow, he's quite a colorful character in some ways, right? But he seems pretty mundane compared to what we have now. I mean, Trump is so completely just unique and easily lampoonable, and sometimes he really behaves like a caricature of himself. It's remarkable. So we live in truly remarkable times. But I am currently voting for Democrats. However, I am supporting Democrats, but that's not just about Trump. That although also too, I've already said I might go back on that. I might vote for if he does run for re-election, I might vote for Chris Sununu, who is a Republican, obviously for re-election, because he's really impressed me on some things. He's disappointed me in some others. So, but I have voted for both parties in the past. I certainly lean more left than right, especially in these times, and in some ways, Trump and the rest of the Republican Party has shoved me to the left. But Michael Albert says, thing about W is you got the feeling that he could laugh at himself. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Trump seems to take himself so seriously. But the thing about Trump is, Trump at one time seemed like he could laugh at himself as well. But that guy disappeared. In so many ways, this is one of the things that frustrates me about Trump, because I think people have almost a caricatured idea of how I feel about Trump. I see a missed opportunity with Trump. See, and my optimism was short-lived and turned out, was misplaced. But I actually, at the beginning of the Trump presidency, I thought, first of all, I didn't vote for he or for Hillary. I voted for Gary Johnson because as an independent, and there's many, many reasons why I'm an independent and why I hate the two-party system. But so I try to support independent candidates, even though they have no chance of ever winning, because it's my way of throwing rocks or throwing pebbles at the two-party system, right? But, but I also assumed that my vote wouldn't count. And of course, it really didn't count. But I assumed that Hillary Clinton was going to win the presidency. So did most Trump supporters, I believe, assumed that. Most MAGA people will tell you, I knew all along Trump was going to win. I called BS. No, you hoped he would, but you didn't know it. Come on. It was a surprise to everybody, including Trump. I don't think anyone was more shocked than him. But, but I had hope. I honestly did. I was not one of the people who said, oh no, Trump's won the presidency. We're screwed. This is going to be awful. And I didn't think that. I had some optimism because I saw an opportunity. Now, it wasn't an opportunity that it turns out he was even remotely interested in, but I saw an opportunity as an independent. I saw an opportunity for Trump to govern as an independent, even though on paper he was a Republican, right? But because I never thought that he was an actual conservative, I thought he might be able to be the uniter that he claimed he was going to be. Instead, he turned out to be, in my view, the most divisive president we've ever had by far. Republicans like to claim that about Barack Obama. I don't get it personally. I really don't. I don't understand how anyone can believe that, mild-mannered, centrist, corporate, Midwestern Democrat Barack Obama was divisive in any way. It's baffling to me. But Ben Shapiro even says Barack Obama was the most radical president in American history. It's like, okay, dude. But anyway, I saw an opportunity for Trump to be a uniter, for Trump to not be a conservative, but to be more like an independent who would be able to bring people together, who would be able to be just kind of this moderate guy who was, okay, we have a businessman now running granted, a failed businessman. I mean, he bankrupted a bunch of casinos. His most effective skill is marketing himself as a successful businessman, not actually being one, right? I mean, if my dad gave me $430 million, I'm pretty sure I could convince everybody that I was a successful businessman without necessarily being one, right? Okay, but in terms of the optics of it, right? Okay, so we finally have, because people always say, oh, we need a businessman. We need a businessman. Okay, so now a businessman, quote unquote, actually wins the presidency. So maybe he's the one who can put ideology aside and actually be pragmatic and practical and inclusive. And, I had hope that he might be that guy because he could have been that guy. See, that's what makes me angry about Trump. Right? Those of you who think, oh, Matt, he's really just a liberal and that's why he hates Trump. It's not that. I mean, if you perceive me as a liberal, that's fine. I do have a lot of liberal positions. I don't, label me as you will. I really don't care. But it's not. My anger with Trump really stems from my frustration with a missed opportunity. And here's the kicker. If he had done what I had hoped that he would do and be that guy, instead of the guy who panders to the most extreme conservative base, right? Instead of being that guy, if he had been the guy that I had hoped he would be in that moment, he'd be on his way to re-election. He thinks he can win re-election by constantly pandering to the base, a strategy that may yet work, right? I mean, even now, I still think he has a shot. I do think Biden's going to win. I didn't think that pre-coronavirus. At this point, I do. I do think Biden is going to win. And there's reasons why I think that, which we can get to. But if he had been the guy that I had hoped he would be and really been that uniter and been the guy who could say, look, I'm a Republican, but ultimately, I'm going to do whatever's best for the country. And I'm going to work with Democrats and my own party. And we're going to do what's best for the country. And I'm going to be, and be this moderate, middle of the road guy who's just a pragmatist. I'm telling you, he would easily be on his way to re-election right now. Easily. Instead of being this far-right buffoon who just constantly looks like he's flailing, but he does things that the very right-wing conservative base of the party just loves, and he says things that they love, and he panders to them, which is the very opposite of being a uniter. He has shown zero interest in being a uniter. He constantly tries to alienate everybody who doesn't already like him. That's my real frustration with Trump. I see such an incredible missed opportunity, and instead what we got was a mess. He would be on his way to a second term right now. It sounds so arrogant. I shouldn't even say it that way. I don't know how else to put it. I believe in my heart. This is what I think, that he would be on his way to a second term right now if he had done what I had hoped he would do. But he went the other way. As soon as he gets into office, he's, tweeting out about how, we're going to get gay, or not gay people, but trans people, out of the military. And, right out of the gate, he was pandering to the far right. And it's like, oh, okay. And he's insulting everybody and, insulting Pelosi and Schumer instead of, trying to work with them in some constructive way. Right out of the gate. It's like, oh. So not only is he not going to be who I hoped he would be, he wants to make sure everyone knows he's not going to be that guy. He's going to be this far right, pander to the base guy. That's his strategy. And I think, but he was right in one sense, though. He was right about one thing. It is his party now. The Republican Party is his party. That's why I make the comments about, never Trumpers. There's 10 or 11 of them in the country. Obviously, there's more than that, but there are very few because it is his party. If you cross him, if you're a Republican and you cross him, he'll give you an insulting nickname on Twitter, and then your political career is over. He can end you like that. Yeah, the entire, again, except for a very small sliver of the Never Trumpers, the entire Republican Party basically just said, hey, okay, we're with him, whatever he wants. I always use trade as an example, and if you're a longtime listener of the show, you're probably sick of me hearing this, but it's just the easiest example that I can think of to illustrate my point. Free trade. The Republican Party used to be the party of free trade, right? We want to have limited tariffs. We don't want to be protectionists, and we certainly don't want to be isolationist on trade. We want free trade, as much free trade as possible. Something that I've tended to agree with, by the way, with Republicans on. The lack of wanting to be protectionist and restrictionist on trade. I tend to be conservative on that issue. I've tended to agree with Republicans on that issue over the years, right? Trump comes along and all of a sudden says, nope, we're not the party of free trade. We're the party of protectionism now. We're going to have more tariffs. We're going to have tariffs up the wazoo. We're going to put all these tariffs on China. It's going to be great. And then, so what happens? After decades of being free traders, the entire Republican Party all at once just kind of shrugs and says, oh, okay, I guess we're the party of protectionists now. We're not the party of free trade anymore. We're the party of protectionism, and we love tariffs. Well, that's what Daddy says, so that's what we're all going to do, I guess. Okay. And everybody just rolls over for him, and that's it. This is the same party. Well, let's not get into that. I'm going to get even more sidetracked than I already am. But it's Trump's party now, and that's why, by the way, Chris Cillizza and everyone who brings these things up when they see these Never Trumpers, like Steve Schmidt, like Rick Wilson, whose book my mother sent me, one of them. The Never Trumpers, I'm glad that they're out there. I'm glad that they're talking. Maybe some of what they have to say will have an effect on some of the pro-Trump independents. But I think they have very, very little impact, honestly. Ultimately, I don't think it matters what most of them say. The Republican Party it is Trump's party now. And we've seen examples of that over and over again. He has remade the party in his image. You could be incredibly popular in your own party as a Republican, but if Trump gives you an insulting nickname on Twitter and says, I don't like that guy anymore, the entire Republican Party then will hate you. He was able to convince not the entire Republican Party, but he was able to convince a large swath of the Republican Party to turn on John McCain before McCain died, just by insulting John McCain. Remember when, during the campaign, when Trump made that comment about McCain? Well, I don't think he's a war hero. I like people who weren't captured. And people recoiled, and some people recoiled in horror at that. They're like, oh, I can't believe what he said about John McCain, a war hero. This might be the end of Trump's campaign. What happened? The opposite happened. The opposite happened. Instead, Republicans everywhere suddenly said, oh, Trump doesn't like, yeah, you know what? I don't like McCain either. Yeah, actually, now that you mention it, McCain's kind of a scumbag. Oh, I hate that guy, John McCain. He's no war hero. Trump's right. That's literally what happened. That's literally what happened. This is the modern Republican Party. Trump, it's like high school. It's high school. Trump is the popular guy. Trump is the captain of the football team. And the rest of the Republicans are all, they're all the popular kids. They're all part of the in crowd with Trump. So when Trump decides, as captain of the football team, that guy, I don't like that guy. I don't like him. Then all the other kids, all the other cool kids, Trump's the most popular guy in the school. So then they all say, oh, okay, well, we don't like him anymore either. That literally is what happens. It's Trump's party now. So any idea that these never Trumpers are actually getting through to Republicans is fantasy. The only shot that they have is if they're getting through to independents who maybe used to be enthusiastic about Trump but no longer are, or maybe had some ambivalence about him from the beginning and now can be convinced that maybe they had made a wrong choice in voting for him. But the Republican Party is the party of Trump. 100, not 100%, but close to it. I mean, look what happened. Look at people who tried to challenge him. Bill Weld, remember, former governor of Massachusetts, former vice presidential libertarian nominee. Bill Weld, he tried. I like Bill Weld very much. The kind of Republican I would be comfortable voting for, absolutely. I think Bill Weld might make a good president, but he had no chance. Couldn't get any traction at all. Joe Walsh, not Joe Walsh from the Eagles, the other Joe Walsh, conservative talk show host, former Republican congressman, had a history of making racist comments, but kind of did a mea culpa on that. He got tons of publicity when he announced his campaign to challenge Trump for, 5-6 days. And then he was forgotten about. It's Trump's party. It is Trump's party. Let's see. Let's catch up with the Facebook live chat because there's a lot of interesting comments here. So Andy Barker said, I'm one of those people that is now an independent. So I assume, Andy, that you used to be a Republican and you left the party. Well, good for you. We need more independents. Michael Albert. Oh, I already read Michael Albert's comment. Michael Albert says this about Obama. The color of his skin is what divided people who couldn't handle having a black president. Yeah, I think you're right, because it became a Republican talking point that that Obama is racist, he's divisive, he's this, he's that. It's like, where are you all getting this? I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I think if anything, Obama consciously tried to be the opposite of that because he, didn't want to come off as the angry black guy that the Republicans were so afraid of. Andy Barker says, I didn't really agree with most of Obama's policies, but I would definitely have a couple of beers with him. Biden has a chance right now until the debates, Andy Barker says. Well, that could be, you might be right. That could be a big vulnerability for Biden. Whatever they did assuming they even have debates. I mean, the coronavirus has made everything weird. Well, the Trump presidency also has made everything weird. But whatever they did, whatever the campaign did, I don't know if they shot him up full of B12 or adrenaline or what. Whatever they did to Biden or for Biden right before the debate that he had, that last debate that he had with Bernie, they need to do that again. Because Biden, by far, during that particular debate, was his most focused, most energetic, his sharpest, by far, out of all the debates. I mean, he was really on his game, or at least by modern Joe Biden standards, he was really on his game during that debate. Or it might have just been simply that he was more comfortable because it was just he and Bernie. So it was a one-on-one debate and not one of these debates where you've got, 7 or 8 people on the stage or 12 people on the stage at once and you're fighting for time and you're getting flustered because you have to fight for your time. So you're interrupting yourself, which is a weird thing that Biden would do. But we'll see. Michael Albert says, problem with a businessman CEO as president is that government, this is a great point Michael makes here, that government doesn't work like a corporation. Corporations and companies function by unquestioned obedience. Government takes consensus. That is absolutely true. That is one of the problems. And I'll tell you what the other one is, but it's a great point because you'll often hear people say, well, people would say before Trump, oh, we need a businessman. We need to put a businessman in charge because what is another thing that people often say? I used to say it myself until I realized the big problem with it is that the government needs to be run like a business. You'll still hear people say that, oh, the government, because we have all this debt, the government spends more than it takes in. That's a problem. We have all this deficit spending. The government needs to be run like a business where you don't spend more than you take in, this and that. I in the past have said that. I don't say that anymore. And to kind of piggyback on the point that Michael brings up, the other problem I realized, and when I sort of had this epiphany, I actually felt kind of foolish that I had ever said, oh, the government should be run like a business. The epiphany that I had is I said, well, wait a minute. How does a business operate? So a business, you're trying to make as much profit as you can. How does a business make money? Well, you try to bring in more money than you're spending. So whatever you're charging for your product or service or whatever it is, whatever kind of business you're running, you want to be generating more revenue than what you're spending on expenses, right? That's how a business makes money. So you always want what you take in to exceed what you're spending. The reason that wouldn't work with government is, how does a government maximize revenue? Through taxes and fees, right? The government charges us through taxes, whatever they're going to charge us. That's how the government generates revenue. So if you want the government to actually function the same way that a business does, you would want then the government to be charging the highest possible tax rate that it can. Because if the government's a business, well then, you want the government to be maximizing its revenue, right? So you would want, in theory, the government to be charging the maximum possible tax rate that they could while spending as little as possible on services and entitlements and the things that we then depend on, infrastructure, everything that we then depend on the government for, right? You'd want them to charge maximum taxes while providing as little service as possible that they could get away with in exchange for those maximum taxes. So when I realized that, I then felt really foolish about all the times prior to that I had said, yeah, you're right, the government should run like a business. No, it should not. It absolutely 100% should not. It is folly. Kendra L. Saunders in the Facebook live chat says, good to hear your voice again, Kendra. Good to hear your voice again, Matt. She's Kendra. My name is Matt. I'm sorry about that. Kendra said, I never thought anything he could possibly do would be good, to be honest. He's been a hateful person all along, but also dangerously stupid. I can't argue with that. Michael Albert says, hasn't hurt Mitt Romney so far. Yeah, Mitt Romney. Well, the thing is, we don't know if it has or not, though, to be fair. Now, Mitt Romney has taken on Trump on a couple different things, of course. You know, he wanted an impeachment trial. The thing about Romney, though, is there probably isn't much Trump can do to him right now because Romney won't be up for re-election until when? I mean, a Senate term is 6 years. When did Romney get elected to the Senate? In 2018? Or was it 2016? It was 2018, right? I think. So Trump will either be gone or on his way out if he wins a second term by the time Mitt Romney has to run for re-election. Now, if Romney were up for re-election, say Romney was up for re-election in 2020, then I think he would be in trouble. I really do, because then he'd be vulnerable because Trump would support whoever Romney's primary challenger would be in Utah, assuming that there were to be a primary challenger to Romney. Trump would throw his support behind Romney's challenger, and then Romney would get primaried out because it is Trump's party. It's Trump over everything. And Republicans in Utah would say, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, we're going to support Romney's primary rival because we need to take out Mittens because he went against our personal savior and hero, Donald John Trump. So I think the only reason it hasn't hurt Romney is because he's not vulnerable at the moment. Kendra says Mitt doesn't have much respect anyway. Let's see. Kendra says people would literally let him do anything he wanted at this point. Oh yeah, no, Trump can do whatever I mean, when Trump, and obviously Trump was kidding, right? When he said during the 2016 campaign, you know, I could shoot somebody in the middle of 6th Avenue and not lose any support. He was kidding, but, you know, you hear that expression, kidding on the square. He was kidding, but he was also right. Andy Barker says, I wasn't a big McCain fan, but that was total BS, what Trump said. Of course, absolutely. Kendra said he tried to pretend to be the man of the underdog, but there's almost never been a person who is less of an underdog than him, LOL. That is true. I mean, Trump, I remember when Trump tried to say, well, his story for a long time, right? His story was that he had received a small loan of $1 million from his father, Fred Trump, to go and start his real estate development business. You know, $1 million, that's a small loan. I guess when you're born into a very wealthy family, that's a small loan. And then over time, we come to find out, no, it was not $1 million that Trump got from his father. It was actually, I mean, it wasn't paid out all at once. They figured out a way to split it up, but it was actually, if I remember correctly, the number is $430 million. Now, I'm not good at math, but seems to me that's a difference of about $429 million between, you know, what Trump tried to tell us his father gave him and what he actually got. And like I said, if you gave me $430 million, I could, you know, I don't have a rich father, but I could probably convince a lot of people of a lot of stuff and figure out a way to present myself as the underdog or the man of the underdog or, you know, whatever, right? I mean, so Jenny says in the Facebook live chat regarding coronavirus, while the state is reporting relatively small numbers of daily new cases, the governor said lessons can be learned by looking at other states that are seeing dramatic surges in new infections. These surges are happening at rates far outpacing the testing increases, demonstrating that COVID-19 is spreading faster in those states. New Hampshire can't rest on its laurels. Governor Sununu said, that means continuing to take precautions, including wearing face coverings, practicing social distancing, and yes, not using reusable bags. How long will these measures need to be in place? The governor says that while businesses continue to reopen, these precautions will need to be in place for months, if not through the end of the year. It's all about keeping the virus down, likely until a safe and effective vaccine is developed. Yeah, Governor Sununu, again, as I said earlier, he may very well get my vote for re-election. Typically, in the gubernatorial elections, and for those of you in other states, you might not know this about New Hampshire, but our governors only serve 2-year terms, not 4 years. And if I'm not mistaken, New Hampshire and Vermont are the only 2 states in the country that still only have a 2-year term for governor, which has its pros and cons, I suppose. But we're a small state, so it's that's probably a part of why it doesn't seem to really be a problem here. But you know, a state like New York or California, I'm sure it would be a nightmare to only have a 2-term governor. But you know, I usually vote for, usually by default in the recent past, I have voted for whoever the libertarian candidate is. Sometimes it's even been someone I know, not necessarily because I think they would be the best person for the job, but because, you know, like I said, ever since the mid-2000s, I've really, you know, because up until, I think it was the mid-2005, 06, I still considered myself a Democrat, not an independent, and that's a kind of a separate conversation. But, you know, but I try to support third-party candidates as much as possible. But I could definitely see voting for Chris Sununu if he does run for re-election. I think he has been outstanding in terms of handling the pandemic here in New Hampshire. I think he's been absolutely exemplary. And as a Republican, he has not backed down at all. He has stood firm against the elements in the Republican Party here in New Hampshire that are, you know, I mean, his own base in theory, the right-wing base of the Republican Party is angry at him. You know, they want to reopen everything immediately. They never wanted to do the shutdown to begin with. They think it's all BS. And Sununu, to his credit, has not given in an inch to those people. He has stayed firm, and I have tremendous respect for him for that. But he's also, too, I mean, he's a Northeastern Republican. He's not his father, you know, John Sununu, very, very conservative. Chris Sununu, much more of a moderate Republican. But I think he's been outstanding. I would say the same about Charlie Baker, governor of Massachusetts, another Republican who I think has been really excellent throughout this. And I hope they continue to do so. Scott Robinson in the Facebook live chat says, you are a libertarian and don't believe in taxes. So how do things get done government-wise if there is no taxes? That's actually incorrect, Scott. I do believe in taxes. I mean, I'm a civil libertarian in many ways, but and I have supported libertarian candidates, as I said. But no, I'm not one of these taxation is theft people. I believe taxes are a necessary evil. Yeah, we have to have taxes because we have to have infrastructure. Yeah, among other things. And by the way, I advocate for universal health care, and that's, you know, you're going to have to spend some tax dollars on that. So no, I'm not against taxes at all. Brian Mackey, who is a top fan +1, by the way. He's the +1. He says, I wonder if he defaulted on the loan from his dad, too. Well, that deserves an air horn, Brian Mackey. Scott Robinson says, any word on how Amy McGrath is doing today? Moscow Mitch has got to go. Yes, Mitch McConnell. hard to take him down. He almost did lose last time to, I cannot remember her name. Her name escapes me, but the Democratic nominee for the Senate in Kentucky last time came perilously close to actually beating Mitch McConnell. She was very impressive, too, a very impressive candidate. Her name I can picture her, but her name escapes me. Scott Robinson says Sununu has done a fine job, in my opinion. And Scott Robinson says, okay, my bad. Hey, no worries. No worries. So there you go. We're caught up with the Facebook live chat, which means it is a good time to take a break, and it's past the top of the hour. So let's do that. I had something I wanted to, well, I know what I'll play. Well, I have a couple things in mind. Well, let's, here, we'll play a quick thing, and then I'll find something else, and then we'll come back with more. You are listening to Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH. Don't go away. There is more to come.
When you do testing to that extent, you're going to find more people. You're going to find more cases. So I said to my people, slow the testing down, please. They test and they test. We got tests that people don't know what's going on. We got tests. We got another one over here. The young man's 10 years old. He's got the sniffles. He'll recover in about 15 minutes. That's a case. Add up to it. That's a case. That's a case.
Hello, everyone. It's me, President Trump, the greatest president in the history of presidents. We're here on the White House lawn. It's the day after Tulsa, Oklahoma, where we had a tremendous, tremendous rally, which was a little bit blunted by the 9-year-olds on TikTok. The 9-year-olds on TikTok, they think they really pulled something funny. Wise guys. Wise guys. Don't worry, they're going to get theirs. They are going to get theirs. And by the way, where is TikTok from? China. China. It always goes back to China. But it was a great rally. We had far more people than Joe Biden would ever have. So I don't want to hear about empty seats. I don't want to hear about it. But it was a great rally. I proved that I can drink water and walk down ramps and get people into arenas. But that's not why I'm here today. I'm here to talk about something very, very special. Because along with being the greatest president in the history of presidents, I'm also the greatest father in the history of fathers. In the fathering world, if this was a competition, I'd be #1 decade after decade, because my fathering is so fatherly and so daddish in its father power. It's very powerful fathering, I have to tell you. And I'm very excited about it. You can ask anybody. Ask any of my wives. Ask Ivanka. Isn't she a knockout? She's so incredible. Ask Don Jr. I was just on his podcast. He hit me with some very hard-hitting questions. Ask Eric. Don't ask Tiffany. Don't ask Tiffany. But ask those three. Ask those three. They'll tell you. Really, really incredible dad. And to the other dads, to the other loser dads, like the Democratic dads, really, it's sad. It's sad. The Democratic dads should be more like the Republican dads. But I want to say Happy Father's Day to the Republican dads, and really step up your game to the Democratic dads.
Howdy, folks. It's Beanchy Fedlocks here with just kind of a quiet little morning song. Not about anybody in particular. Empty seats, empty heart, empty head, with a soul that appears to be dead. Could it be Brad Parscale had misled? Empty seats, empty heart, empty head. Empty promises he's always made. Still his followers drink the Kool-Aid. Checks are written Each time it gets laid, empty life prominently displayed. Empty words he sends out in his tweets. Not exactly Walt Whitman or Keats. When out golfing, they say that he cheats. In November, let's just hand him defeats.
When viral symptoms underlie, there are home remedies to try. You find the one that works and snap, you're safe. And every product neath your sink might be a medicine to drink. No need for tests, the president suggests.
Right, and then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection?
A spoonful of Clorox makes your temperature go down. Your temperature go down. Temperature go down. Just a spoonful of Clorox makes your temperature go down. It's the latest COVID craze.
Supposing we hit the body with whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light.
A politician who distracts has very little time for facts. The scientists he's hired are perplexed. While Dr. Burks is about to barf and hang herself with her own scarf, he diatribes and recklessly prescribes.
But it sounds interesting to me.
That some pledge on your pancakes makes coronavirus pass. Coronavirus pass. If it gives you gas, try some bleach in your beer and shove a flashlight up your ass. Heal yourself with UV rays. Our president is no MD, he only plays one on TV. But of medical advice, he's always full. A little Drano in your cup will clear your sinuses right up. And quench your thirst unless it kills you first. Slap your mom with a Swiffer till her temperature goes down. Her temperature goes down. Temperature goes down. Spray your boyfriend with Lysol till he's 6 feet underground. It's the latest COVID craze.
Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I'm not a doctor.
Since it's improbable you'll win with your hydroxychloroquine, splash some Windex in your wine and you'll resolve. And you won't likely get a pill from Dr. Oz or Dr. Phil. There's no vaccine. So try some Mr. Clean. Just a spoonful of Clorox makes your temperature go down. Your temperature go down. Seriously down. Just a spoonful of Clorox makes your temperature go down. Your temperature go down. Temperature go down. In a most instructive way.
Sounds interesting to me. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. I'm not a doctor.
You're kidding.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are well in hour number 2, numero dos, here on WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. Also on Comcast 97 in Manchester, streaming at WMNHradio.org, and on the Facebook on the Matt Connarton Unleashed Facebook page. It is Tuesday, June 23, 2020. as we continue on, as we sally forth. And I don't even really know what that expression means, but I heard it somewhere, and it sounds like something you do. The number to call is 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. We are, of course, also, I'm sorry, I got distracted by something. Hello, ADD. Might have a new air horn. Ooh, I like that one even better. It might be time to upgrade. You can also send a text to 617-917-4476. You can tweet me at Matt Connarton or send an email to matt@ipmnation.com. But the best thing to do so I can hear and enjoy your dulcet tones is to call us at 603-250-6007. Let's see. Miriam Banish, who is a top fan, joins us in the Facebook live chat. And she says, did you play some Roy Zimmerman? I love Roy, and that song sounded like him, but it would have to be very new. Well, at the top of the show, I did play a Roy Zimmerman track. What was it called? Driving. It was something about driving while black, but it was, I can't find it now. But yes, Roy Zimmerman has a new song. It came out right before I went on the air, and I was like, oh my goodness. I was very excited. And so I did play that at the top of the show. Of course, if you miss any part of the show, you can always access it later at WMNHradio.org, where we do archive all the programs. I want to remind you, of course, as well, that we are sponsored proudly by the Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street. Now, they're closed today, but they are open Wednesday through Sunday, most days from noon to 9 p.m., Sundays from noon to 5, because they're also doing brunch there. But it is a wonderful place, great food, great beverage, and a great family. Wonderful people there. So the Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street. They have delicious gourmet pretzels. They have craft beer. They have wine. They have all kinds of stuff. And they have the wonderful outdoor dining. They can fit almost as many people outside as they could inside. So it's really, really cool. So please continue to support them. Like I said, we're very honored and privileged to have them as a sponsor. Oh, DWB, yes, is the new Roy Zimmerman song. Thank you, Miriam. Couple bits of exciting news here. This is something coming out of Arizona, and it's interesting. I think now I understand why. Miriam says Roy did a concert at the Unitarian Universalist Church in Manchester. I think that's one of the 7 churches that EZG goes to, is the UU Church. You know what I love about the UUs? Everyone wins. It's wonderful. That's the way to go if you're going to be religious. And speaking of religion, apparently a church in Arizona, this is really exciting. Breaking news, my friends, we have a cure. We have a cure. There is a church in Arizona that has cured the coronavirus. This is wonderful. Our long national nightmare is over, to quote the late, great Gerald Ford, who did not die of coronavirus, but I will invoke his words. This is exciting. According to azcentral.com, problem solved. The Arizona church hosting a Trump rally claims it can kill COVID-19. This is fantastic. See, now I feel badly for all the times that I have presented an unreligious worldview, shall we say, because it turns out, and I don't know how they did it. I'm going to read this. I'm very excited. Perhaps they figured out how to pray it away. Instead of praying away the gay, they figured out how to pray away COVID-19. This is astonishing. Let's see. It says here, just when things can't get any creepier, comes the church hosting President Trump's Arizona visit with a too good to be true technology that kills COVID-19. Too good to be true. With faith, all things are possible, my friends. Leaders from the Dream City Church Dream City. That sounds like the name of an arcade or something. The Dream City Church. You know, when I was growing up, I was raised Catholic. A little bit of a sidebar, but churches had like names like St. John's. That's the church that my family went to when I was growing up. Or, you know, St. Michael's or St. Matthew's, you know. But Dream City, it's weird. That's weird, right? It's like, you know, it's like when you have these concert venues, these concert arenas, you know, that used to have cool names, you know, like Great Woods, which is now the Xfinity Center, but it used to be Great Woods in Mansfield when I was a kid, you know. Places had cool names. Now it's like, you know, these corporate entities, they buy these venues or they sponsor them and they have names like the Dunkin' Donuts Arena. It's terrible. This is the corporatization of America just ruins everything. The Dream City Church, that just sounds, well, you know what? I should keep an open mind. I mean, I'm sure that they are with the Lord, shall we say. So it's not for me to question. I'm sorry. Anyway, getting back to this. Leaders from the Dream City Church, which has locations in Phoenix and Scottsdale. Wait, it's a franchise? You can franchise these churches now? Well, I guess that makes sense. They're claiming in a Facebook post that they've installed new technology that, quote, kills 99% of coronavirus through ionization within 10 minutes. That is incredible. Although a question that does leap to mind is, what is the capacity of this church? I mean, can we get like everyone who's currently experiencing COVID-19 symptoms or who have tested positive for the virus, can we get them all to this church in Arizona? I guess you could have them all file in, just go in one by one. They only have to be in there for 10 minutes for the ionization to ionize out the virus, I guess. I guess that's how it works. This is exciting. The things you can do with technology. It is an amazing time to be alive. They couldn't kill the Spanish flu in 1918 with ionization, but now we have this technology. This is amazing. A local company conveniently owned by church members developed the technology, they say. Well, that's amazing. Certainly it's too good to be true, but hey, that's not stopping the church's CFO, Brendan Zastro, and Pastor Luke Barnett from promoting the technology in the wake of the presidential visit. Good grief, you can't make this stuff up. They don't mention Trump's Arizona visit, but it can't be a coincidence that they're pushing their new miracle stuff to kill the virus that causes COVID-19. Well, let's keep an open mind. And I would also, if no one objects, I would like to keep an open heart as well. I mean, these are matters of faith. Trump is heading to Yuma for a photo op at the U.S.-Mexico border and is scheduled to speak to more than 3,000 people at the Students for Trump event at Dream City Church in North Phoenix on Tuesday. Actually, I would not be surprised if there's only there ends up only being a few people there if TikTok, if they TikTok users buy up all the tickets, or not buy, but reserve all the tickets. That would be by the way, I find that hilarious. I just want to put that out there that TikTok users were able to sabotage. I know people will think that that's juvenile of me, but I don't care. I really do think it's not the most hilarious thing that's ever happened, but it's like close to the top. Let's see. It says here, Arizona is among the nation's hardest hit with a huge spike of positive COVID-19 cases in recent weeks. Well, this is perfect then. If Arizona is having a huge spike, you just got to get them all. Here's what you do. You take all the people with COVID-19, you cram them all into a nice air-conditioned bus, and you bring them to the church. Bring them to the church. They can pray. They can worship. They can, and they can be cured. I don't know what else goes on. This might be shocking to some of you. I haven't been inside an actual house of worship in a long time. So I don't know what goes on there. Let's see. Uncle Sam has not signed off on any vaccine or method to kill the virus that has infected more than 2.3 million Americans and killed more than 120,000. And now the Dream City Church miraculously has an ionization technology that wipes out COVID-19 in the wake of Trump's visit. Yeah, this is suspiciously too convenient to believe and too reckless to say. And this was written by Elvia Diaz. She of little faith. She of little faith. I think it's exciting, my friends. I think it's, uh-oh. There's an update. Oh, no. TMZ is reporting that Arizona Church misrepresented the technology. Oh, no. AZ Trump Rally Church misrepresented COVID-free tech, says parent company. This is this is from TMZ. It says here, the Arizona Church hosting President Trump's Tuesday rally, that's today, overplayed its hand by claiming it's got tech to zap away COVID-19. So say the owners of that technology. Oh, no. Tim Bender, the chief strategy officer of Clean Air EXP, which sold the fancy air purification system to Dream City Church, tells TMZ the dudes who said they'd be Rona-proof come Tuesday went overboard and flat out exaggerated about Clean Air's product. He says that while their air purifiers theoretically cannot hurt in helping fend off COVID-19 molecules, it actually hasn't quite been specifically tested to combat the disease. Translation, it doesn't do anything. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure this ionization stuff is legitimate. Not really. What it has gone up against in a lab is 19's ugly cousin, COVID 229E. I didn't know there was a COVID 229E. Wow. Which is said to be a surrogate of the big baddie with a similar protein structure. Blender says in testing, ionized particles churned out via his system neutralize COVID 229E. Okay, well, that's something. In all fairness, that's something. I mean, what if we have a pandemic of COVID 229E? That will be ready to handle. Look, we have to see the glass is half full, my friends. Find optimism where you can. By the way, Bender tells us he would love to get in touch with the CDC to see if his air system can do some good on a larger scale, but just hasn't been able to get in touch. Oh, no, wait a minute. The CDC isn't taking him seriously? Is that what's going on here? He says he's hoping when Trump comes to town and hears all the buzz, it might help him make a CDC Connect. I can see that. I can imagine that. I can imagine him in Arizona and he hears all this buzz and he's like, they have a machine. Can you believe it? They have an ionization machine. It's going to cure COVID-19. Sounds interesting, and maybe it will kick COVID-19's ass in testing, but until then, Clean Air isn't trying to get ahead of itself. Unfortunately, one of its most recent customers, the Dream City Church, already has. The two church leaders have taken down their giddy Facebook video, but some people who saw it might be thinking they're in the clear from coronavirus, and Clean Air says they're just not yet anyway. Wait a minute, there's a video of these guys? Oh, I didn't realize this. There's a video of these guys talking about the magical machine? I got to see if it'll play. I want to hear this. This is great. Let's see. While that's loading, let's see what's going on. in the Facebook live chat. Ha! Brian Mackey says, come on, Matt, 229E is all the rage. I didn't know. I honestly didn't know. Wow. Michael Albert says, Trump complaining about more coronavirus testing is like the kid in school complaint that if his teacher didn't give him so many tests, he wouldn't get so many Fs. Boy, that is true. Oh, I didn't shut that window, did I? Oh, where'd it go? I want to play that. I've got to play that video. Oh, I didn't lose it, did I? I have to hear the video of these guys talking about, all excited, talking about, is this it? Did I find it? Oh boy. Speaking of giddy. Let me get, okay, here we go. So this is the two guys from that church, apparently, talking about how we've cured COVID-19. Here we go.
Hey, gang, we have some exciting information about what we're doing to fight COVID-19 here at Dream City Church. We're probably the first church in the nation to...
Yeah, we've installed Clean Air EXP. We have a local Arizona company. It was technology developed by some members of our church, and we've installed these units.
Sorry, it's lagging a little bit.
And it kills 99.9% of COVID within 10 minutes. From independent testing.
It's ionization, is that what it is?
Ionization. It's ionization of the air, and it takes particulates out, and COVID cannot live in that environment.
So when you come into our auditorium, 99% of COVID is gone, killed, if it was there in the first place. So you can know when you come here, you'll be safe and protected. Thank God for great technology, and thank God for being proactive.
Amen.
Bless you guys.
Amen. Sorry, the boom, boom, boom at the end. I know that was a little loud. That's the thing that TMZ puts on all their videos. Wow. I like how the one guy can't even pronounce ionization. It's like, here's the thing. If you're going to run a scam, you should probably know how to pronounce the words that you're going to need to use to convince everybody. Michael Albert says, do they claim it cures the gays too? No. They don't claim that, Michael. No, that you have to go to a clinic for that, I believe. The Gay Conversion Therapy Clinic. Michelle Bachmann, former Congresswoman of the great state of Minnesota, Michelle Bachmann, her husband, Marcus Bachmann, runs a clinic where they pray away the gay. They do the Gay Conversion Therapy. You can go there and be not gay anymore. Very exciting. But the thing I always say about Marcus Bachmann that's interesting is if you've ever seen or heard Marcus Bachmann in an interview of any kind, what you will realize about him almost immediately is, that guy's running away from something. And you don't need a psych degree to figure out what it is. If you know what I mean. He and Michelle, they adopted a bunch of foster kids, yet they don't have any biological children of their own. I don't know why. Maybe he's shooting blanks, poor guy. I don't know. I have a theory or two. I don't know. In other exciting news, we'll do something else kind of equally silly. If you're a longtime listener, you know of my fascination with Paula White. Because Paula White has the ability to speak in tongues.
Hey!
Not only is that something that I would like to do, be able to do effectively, but I also, I love Speaking in Tongues by Talking Heads. It's my favorite Talking Heads album. So if you haven't listened to it, you should. I recommend it. And so that fascinates me about Paula White. And also she is married to Jonathan Cain of Journey. So, so when Journey is on stage playing, Love and Touch and Squeezing, great song. She's no doubt thinking about the Lord. And I think that's wonderful. And, we love Paula White. I'm fascinated by anyone who can speak in tongues. I've often said that if Mike Pence runs for president in 2024, while he certainly is not someone with whom I match up ideologically, if he at any point comes out to the podium during a campaign rally and begins speaking in tongues and is handling a snake, I will vote for him. I will have to. I will just feel compelled to do so. Because I will know in that moment that guy really, really wants it, and he needs to be president. This is from Gonzo in the Facebook live chat says, "Is that why you have no children?" No, it is not, Gonzo. I don't think I have much in common with Marcus Bachman. Oh, Jenny just shared a link in the Facebook live chat. We'll have to come back to that. Paula White has explained something about our president, Donald John Trump, because something else that is quite fascinating about Paula White, I don't know if you know this. If you're a regular listener of the show, you know this because obviously you're a well-informed individual. Paula White is one of the faith advisors of our president, Donald John Trump. Oh, hello to Robert Dion, host of Through the Stage Door. You're on WMNH. He says, happy Tuesday, all. Paula White is one of Trump's faith advisors. And he has a whole bunch of faith advisors. He has a big team. He's got like a whole bunch of them. You might know this if you've seen any of the pictures of Trump's faith advisors when they do the laying of the hands. When I think of the laying of the hands, I always think of Lay Your Hands on Me by Bon Jovi. One of the few Bon Jovi songs I actually like. It's very catchy. Lay your hands on me. Maybe I'll play that. They do the laying of the hands. They surround Trump and do the laying of the hands, and you'll see Trump with his head bowed and whatnot. Reinforcing that Donald John Trump, and I think we can all agree on this, clearly is the godliest president in the history of the galaxy. He is... I've talked on the show about the dream I had where it was more like an out-of-body experience, really. It was so vivid where St. Peter came to me in my dream and said he was going to show me heaven. And he brought me up to heaven and he brought me into God's office. And, God wasn't there because it wasn't my time. You don't get to actually meet him until you die. But he brought me into God's office, and there on the wall, of course, behind God's desk was a giant American flag, obviously. And next to that, of course, a giant portrait of Ronald Wilson Reagan. And then to the side was a life-size cardboard cutout of Donald John Trump, the godliest president ever. So very exciting. It was quite a dream. It really was very vivid. I think I did leave my body. But by the way, wear sunglasses in heaven. It's very, very bright there if you do happen to die. Make sure you have some shades with you. I, of course, won't be going to heaven ultimately. I know this because I support marriage equality and I'm pro-choice. So, the whole thing was really just a big tease. Like, I think St. Peter was trying to say, this is what you're going to miss out on, Matt. And I was like, oh, it's very bright here, though. It's like walking into Target. You ever go into Target? It's so bright. It's not like Walmart. Target it's bright. It's blinding. You can't even see all the bargains. Anyway, so they do the laying of the hands. And Paula White, of course, also, she's one of these televangelists. So she offers you the opportunity to get into heaven. All you have to do is send her money. It's great. It's a great arrangement. But Paula White has explained... Oh, John Hopwood is in the Facebook live chat. He says, are you sure the cardboard cutout wasn't Peter White? Well, we do have the giant Peter White cardboard head here in the studio with us, but no, it was definitely Donald John Trump. Paula White has explained why Trump doesn't talk more about his deep faith. Because if you notice, Trump doesn't really talk about it much. Well, apparently he was advised by Paula White to not spend a lot of time speaking about that, which is very, very strange to me. Usually, George W. Bush, an evangelical Christian, he talked about his faith when he was president. Other presidents have. His father didn't so much. He was a little more secular, I think. But Paula White, apparently the reason Donald John Trump doesn't talk about his faith is Paula White has advised him not to. And I'm very curious as to why. But let's listen to this. This will
does he have a relationship with the Lord? Is he being mentored? A lot of people wanted to know those types of questions. He absolutely does. He grew up in a very strong household of faith. And a lot of people don't, if you look at the formation of it, his mother, as I said, was a very godly, strong, praying woman.
Yes.
She had a lot of influence on him. So did his father, but in very different ways. His father, obviously a strong businessman. So if you look, I'd say two things really formed him a lot. And that was his church life. And I'll go into the explanation of that and then bring that current. And also, I think military school had a lot of formation on him. You can see that. He is a straight shooter. You're gonna hear him. And I said, you're a businessman. And I saw them coming at him with a theological question. And I knew that he didn't know that this was a theological question, and it was a complete setup. And it was over the communion. They started asking him about wine because he doesn't drink. And I'm like, oh, they're about to drop it on him. And it'd be like asking me how to build a building. I don't know how to build a building,
Right.
And so
Right.
I said, look, politics by its very nature the system is designed to be very divisive and destructive. The nature of it. Now, God can put good people, righteous people. We pray for that. We pray that all of our leaders will make wise decisions, will walk in righteousness so that we can live peaceably, Romans chapter 13. But I remember Governor Huckabee and myself were with him, and I highly recommended to him. I said, sir, we started seeing some brutal things happening. I mean, early on in the campaign. And I'd be in meetings or we'd be somewhere, and then you'd watch a clip on TV that was just complete. I would go, if I wasn't just sitting there, I wouldn't be able to believe. I mean, it was crazy. It was so opposite and diabolical. It was just real, even hard to understand, like there was just absolutely no truth to it or such just to pick. So we highly recommended to him in this arena to keep faith very private and personal and hold it close, because there's some situations that you walk out more privately than publicly.
Right.
Because in an arena like this, I think, darned if you do, darned if you don't. Now, with that said, there's a whole lot that happens behind the scenes that faith plays such an important role to our president.
Hey! Modarabaka sakatara baka sakatara.
John Hopwood being very verbose in the Facebook live chat. He says, is that one of the Dion quintets? Oh, referring to Daryl, maybe? Bon Jovi came to New Hampshire to sleep with Cher. The entire band? How dare you? Cher is considered a genius in Russia. They don't know that she is ethnically Armenian. If they did, they'd turn on her. So are you saying Bon Jovi would not have slept with Cher if they knew she was Armenian? I'm confused. They're not Russian, are they? Let's see. What did Jenny share here? We're almost out of time, but this is from the New York Times. EU may bar American travelers as it reopens borders, citing failures on virus. So the EU, the European Union, may bar travel from the United States. Yeah, I mean, we have done, and I've ranted about this on my personal page as well as the Unleashed page. We've done a pretty poor job in the United States in some ways dealing with the virus, in contrast with other countries. Like you look at Japan, what they've been able to do. You look at what New Zealand has been able to do. I do think that our foray through this is an abject failure, but I think a lot of that has to do with, just a lack of discipline. And, you have a large swath of the American populace that is anti-science. So, we have a lot going against us. It says here, European Union countries rushing to revive their economies and reopen their borders after months of coronavirus restrictions are prepared to block Americans from entering because the U.S. has failed to control the scourge according to draft lists of acceptable travelers reviewed by the New York Times. That prospect, which would lump American visitors in with Russians and Brazilians as unwelcome, is a stinging blow to American prestige in the world and a repudiation of President Trump's handling of the virus in the U.S., which is more than 2.3 million cases and upward of 120,000 dead, more than any other country. European nations are currently haggling over two potential lists of acceptable visitors based on how countries are faring with the coronavirus pandemic. Both lists include China, as well as developing nations like Uganda, Cuba, and Vietnam. Both also exclude the U.S. and other countries that were deemed too risky because of the spread of the virus. Travelers from the U.S. and the rest of the world already had been excluded from visiting the EU, with few exceptions, mostly for repatriations or essential travel, quote unquote, since mid-March. But a final decision on reopening the borders is expected early next week before the bloc reopens on July 1. A prohibition of Americans by Brussels partly reflects the shifting pattern of the pandemic. In March, when Europe was the epicenter, Trump infuriated European leaders when he banned citizens from most European Union countries from traveling to America. Mr. Trump justified the move as necessary to protect the U.S., which at the time had roughly 1,100 coronavirus cases and 38 deaths. In late May and early June, Trump said Europe was, quote, making progress and hinted that some restrictions would be lifted soon, but nothing has happened since then. Today, Europe has largely curbed the outbreak, even as the U.S., the worst afflicted, has seen more infection surges just in the past week. Prohibiting American travelers from entering the EU would have significant economic, cultural, and geopolitical ramifications. Millions of American tourists visit Europe every summer. Business travel is common, given the huge economic ties between the U.S. and the EU. By the way, I mean, as far as the economic impact, because of Americans not traveling to Europe, isn't that, I mean, that's likely to be the case anyway, I would think. It will be interesting to see in the coming months. You know, I don't think a lot of people want to travel regardless of restrictions, even if there were no restrictions. I mean, who really wants to be getting on an airplane right now if they don't absolutely have to? You know, I wouldn't want to. Despite the disruptions caused by such a ban, European officials involved in the talks said it was highly unlikely an exception would be made for the U.S. They said that the criteria for creating the list of acceptable countries had been deliberately kept as scientific and non-political as possible. So the article goes on from there. It is in the Facebook live chat if you would like to read the whole thing. But yeah, they might ban travel from the U.S., and I can only imagine how Trump will then react to that. Hello to Stephen Philbrook in the Facebook live chat. John Hopwood says, country, that's an ungodly word with a double entendre. It's homeland. Well, we do have a Department of Homeland Security. I never liked that. After when they created the Department of Homeland Security after 9/11, I was like, Homeland? Yikes. Is that really a word we want to be using? Homeland? Let's see. Sorry, just trying to get these comments in before we run out of time. Replying to Stephen, John Hopwood says, it's always a difficult transit from Sunday to hump day, sex-wise. Oh, those weeks she's working. So who says the shutdown of the economy is negative? I don't get it. I missed something. Stefan says, Matt, remember, always do the right thing. I ended up watching Do the Right Thing with Molly last night, finished around 3 a.m. Yeah, I think Stefan is responding to a Facebook post I posted yesterday. I was registering my ongoing discouragement with how few people are wearing masks, and but it's a part of my larger discouragement over how the United States has handled. And I think I said this yesterday on the show too. I was complaining about how The lack of discipline in the United States, we just don't have, we just don't have it in us the way, Japan, they more than flattened the curve. They really kicked COVID-19's ass, and they did it not by shutting down the economy, not by a long shot. They did it by, they got about 80%, it's estimated, of the population in Japan to wear masks in public, and by being very vigilant about social distancing. And we just can't do that here. Here it's, as soon as you loosen restrictions a little bit, everybody goes, oh, okay, so let's have cookouts and barbecues and breathe in each other's faces. And, oh, it's nice out. The summer weather's here. So let's go to a Trump rally in Tulsa, So we're going to have, I don't want to end the show on a negative note, so I'm going to just try not to. But thank you, Stefan. You're right. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. All right, we are just about out of time, so I want to thank you all. And again, thank you to whoever sent this wonderful card. If you're just joining us, this wonderful card to Jenny and I, we really appreciate that, the condolence card. Like I said, I can't make out who signed it. But whoever it was, if you're watching or listening, thank you so much. And if you missed any part of today's show, it will be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org. And thank you, all of you in the Facebook live chat. And be sure to return tomorrow, 7 a.m. for the morning show with Peter White, which you can hear weekdays from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on WMNH. And we're going to go ahead and get out of here. I will be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. And that's it for me for now. I will talk at y'all a little bit later. Bye, everybody.